Welcome to NIO Studio. Myself Dr. Babita Parashar. I head Department of Education at Manav Rachna University, Faridabad. Today, we will be studying together assessment of personality, the non-projective techniques. But before we start non-projective techniques in particular, let us understand what personality is. Personality for each of us means the first impression we make of a person. Like if we see these two pictures which are there on the screen, you will make an impression of these two people who are there. That is not personality. According to D.El.Ed, a very popular psychologist, he gave the definition of personality as the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his characteristic behavior and thought. Now, in this entire process, we'll start, there are some keywords like dynamic, psychophysical, behavior and thought. Dynamic as the term means that something which keeps on changing. It is not permanent, it is undergoing revival, renewal from one time frame to another time frame. Psychophysical means the thoughts, behavior, patterns, emotions, beliefs, value system, and physical means what is visible to us to the outer world. So, and this is expressed in the forms of your behavior and thought. So, D.El.Ed, I'll repeat once again, says personality is the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his or her characteristic behavior and thought. Why assessment of personality, not measurement? To measure something, it has to be a thing like you see apple, cloth, milk, it is a thing which we can see. So, we measure something which is visible. Then we need some instrument to measure it and then the person who is going to measure it. So, for anything to be measured, these are the three characteristics which we need to consider every time. Now, like sugar, milk, cloth, the moment I say any object, you can visualize cloth, you can visualize apple, you can visualize milk, you can visualize ice cream. You can also think of the instrument which is used to measure it, and the personality is not a thing as we say, it is an idea. Psychologists have different opinion about dimensions and content of it, and it is not static, it is dynamic. By that I mean, I met somebody today and I make an opinion of the person or the personality. I meet the same person 6 months down the line. Based on the exposure the person has gone through, the things have changed. So, personality is something which keeps on changing, so it is dynamic in nature. How will you measure something which is changing with the span of time, with the exposure, with the society or the social circle? So, the nature of the instrument, there is no zero from which we can start measuring the personality. If I say that even a newborn baby has some personality, a newborn baby comes to your family, you try to recognize that who or her, whom the person resembles, uncle, aunt, mother, maternal uncle. So, even a newborn which has a life today who is starting, it does not have a zero personality. And there is no reliable scale, there is no meter scale with which you can measure. Like on the screen if you see, there is a balance, there is a meter scale, there is a measuring cylinder, and for each of them there is a zero mark. So, if you are starting, if you go and buy a cloth, you know that this is 0, from here you need 1 meter, 2 meter or whatever. So, for personality, there is no measuring instrument as such. The nature of the person, you are going to a shop, you ask them to give you 1 kg of sugar, the person will put weight or use an electronic balance, you can see the display on your side. So, if the person is weighing less than 1 kg of sugar, you can question the person that I asked for 1 kg and giving me less than that. But when it comes to personality, you will not be able to question the reliability, validity. So, all these things let us come to the conclusion that personality is something which cannot be measured, it can only be assessed. And that is the topic for today, assessment of personality. I'll just summarize all this. Thus, a dynamic phenomenon like personality can only be estimated or assessed, but not measured. Now, the techniques for personality assessment. Now, we have all understood and we are on the common page that personality is something to be assessed, not measured. So, there has to be some techniques for the personality assessment. Broadly, psychologists have defined the assessment of personality can be done by two broad divisions. One is the non-projective techniques and one is the projective techniques. Our topic for this session is the non-projective techniques of personality assessment. Projective, when I talk about the non-projective techniques, there is some subjectivity which is there. If I say that the objective techniques are completely objective or the non-projective are completely subjective, it is not there. There is a fine line of overlapping which keeps on happening, which is by virtue of the person who is doing it, by virtue of the setup in which we are doing it. So, there is some subjectivity which is there when it comes to the non-projective techniques. So, there are three broad categories which we will be studying today: the observation techniques, the self-expression techniques and opinion techniques. To begin with, we start with the observation techniques, which is the situation test. Now, as the name itself suggests, in situation test we observe the behavior of a person. It is a very popular method. Like in our common everyday behavior pattern also, if you have gone to any meeting, you have gone for any fair, you have gone for a wedding party and you do not have many friends to socialize with, you will just go back, sit and observe what is happening around. And based on your observations, you'll make a list that I like so and so or I did not like so and so. So, like for example, I liked Nishant in this party because I liked the dress he or she was wearing. So, that is how we say that observation is something which is a very popular technique of behavior study. I can be a non-observant, non-participant observation. By that I mean that I cannot be a part of the group. I'll just sit outside the classroom and see that how the teacher is teaching. Or I can be in a playground when the children are playing and just see that who all are actively participating, who's taking the lead, who is a good team player, and then on the basis of that I make my notes that this person is eligible for being the captain of the team, this person is not eligible to the captain of the team because he is not playing for the team to win. He or she is only playing for himself or herself to win. So, that is a non-participant observation where I, as a teacher, I do not interfere in whatever is happening. I just sit outside, observe, and then on the basis of that, I take some decisions. The other one is a participant observation. Participant means that I am a part of the group, an integral part of the group. I am telling them what to do, what not to do, I am correcting them, and then on the basis of that, I am making observations. So, when I am an integral part of the group, I am able to understand there are few things which are non-verbal, like somebody said something I did not like and I stare back. So, by being a participant observation, I understand that he or she did not like what was being communicated. So, these are the two broad categories of behavior observations which we do as a non-participant observation. Then we come down to situation test. Situation means that I deliberately design a situation. I tell my students that you are going for a village fair and on the way the auto rickshaw you were going by, the fuel got finished. So, what will you do? There is no petrol pump which is available, and in this situation you see that which child takes the lead, which child comes up with the different opinions to you, and then you understand the leadership skills, the compassion part, the empathy part. That is what we mean by situation test. The another situation is that in your class there are many students who are complaining of things being stolen from the bag. Every other day when you come to the class, the student reports that my pencil box is stolen, my eraser is stolen, my book is missing. So, how do you find out that what is happening? So, you create a situation where you try to observe that who is into that habit, like you create a situation that there is a 100 rupee note lying in the school, outside school gate, and then you observe that who has this little tendency to pick up the note and see that nobody is observing and move on. So with this kind of situation test, as a teacher, you will be able to identify that who as a child is getting little inclined to dishonest practicing. You move out of the class during an examination and you keep a check that who has this little tendency to sneak peek into the book and cheat. So these are the situation tests where we check that whether the students are getting inclined towards dishonest practices, and then you make your observations and you counsel the class for all these practices. Autobiography is another form of the non-projective techniques. Now, autobiography is an account of a person's life written by that person itself. So, if you wish to know more about a person, you read an autobiography. But then there is again, as I shared in the beginning, there is a scope of subjectivity. As a person, I would like to share all more of those details which are socially favorable. There might be one aspect of my personality which I might not like to open up to the society or to my friends. So autobiography is another a non-projective techniques, but yes, subject to a lot of subjectivity based on that with what perspective the author has written the account of the life which has been shared. When come to questionnaire, now questionnaire is a printed form which is used for collecting information about the subject. We give 3 options or depends that what kind of information we wish to collect, and we say that yes, no, can't say. And the first question is like, do you enjoy being alone? The candidate would answer yes. Then it's like, do you laugh at a joke on yourself? No. Do you always support truth even if it means standing alone? Can't say. So based on the answers which are being given in the questionnaire, you as a teacher or as an observer can have some idea of the dominant personality traits. Again, one disadvantage which a questionnaire method has is that although I like being alone, or although I enjoy my company most of the time, I would know that this is not something which is desirable. And I would say that no, I do not enjoy being alone. So in that case, when we design a questionnaire, we have to repeat the same question with paraphrasing or in a different situations, so that we come closer to the correct personality traits of the subject being evaluated. The drawback of a question, as I say, that it is difficult to get responses to all the questions. I've given a questionnaire to a respondent, and anywhere where the respondent finds that this is something which I cannot lie to the researcher or my teacher, and if I am being truthful, it will not create a very positive impression on the teacher. So they would leave the questions unanswered. And all these unanswered questions would not help you create the right picture, or the right personality assessment would be done. The subject may give selective responses rather than the genuine ones, like they would hide the weaknesses or give more socially desirable ones. Like if I quote an example here, I met a lady who is working, who is earning a handsome package, who is holding a good profile. So this candidate is in the social terms an empowered female, but at the same time I met this female during one of the odd meetings, and I found her very withdrawn. She was sad, and on inquiring I got to know that the husband is a drunkard and she is exposed to domestic violence often. So if the same lady would have been given a questionnaire, the answer for are you empowered would have been yes, but the actual situation is something else. So that is one of the major drawback of a questionnaire, that we deliberately try to give socially desirable answers. So we have to think of other options to coming to the right personality assessment in those cases. Interview, again, you meet a person face to face, as the discussion would progress, you would be able to know more about things by the non-verbal gestures also. Like if somebody has a disturbed family because of the monetary issues, although in the first question they say that are you financially well off as the family, and the first answer is yes. And when you try to explore more, then you get to know that the situation is barely hand to mouth. So interview is again one technique where, as a researcher or as a teacher, when you connect one to one with your student or with the subject, you know a lot more information than what is given through words, through the expressions, through the non-verbal communications, through the sweat on the forehead. So as a teacher, a very powerful technique is interview when you wish to assess the personality of the candidate. Again, when it comes to biographies, we have just few slides back, we were talking about autobiography. Now, autobiography is which a person has himself given an account of the life experiences, and then from there you wish to know that what were the struggle, what were the accomplishments, what were the challenges. When it comes to biographies, it is written by another person, not by the subject himself. Like for example, India's railwayman, Mr. Sridharan, is a very familiar face to us. He is the one who has given the metro system the present shape it is. So, but then that would be one aspect of him. But a biography written requires a lot of interviews with the person, a lot of interviews with the social circle in which the person has gone through, and then you make your assessment about the personality. The other one which we talk about is again about a very famous personality, Mr. Mahavir Singh Fogart. We also saw that movie Dangal, which was coming up on that. So these all are the biographical instances which come. So autobiography and biography are only different in the term of that who has written it and with what perspective. So this is also one of the very popular techniques of personality assessment, the non-projective ones. Now, case history or case study, it is again like as a teacher, you have been reported about a student who usually who comes to the school but decides to sit on the last bench in the classroom, although you know that the child is bright but does not wish to participate in any of the classroom discussions. When it is the time for game or sports, that time also the child is not very active. So first you would like to know about the case history, that what happened. Is the child being scolded by the popular phrase ki it's the play which spoils check, ki khiloge kudoge banoge kharab. So is it what is driving the child? So by knowing the case history as a teacher, we will collect information from different sources, try to integrate the information which is obtained by you, and then try to counsel the child or meet the parents and the other resources which will be able to shape up. So it requires many interviews with the individual, other persons who know the individual, consolidation of information which is obtained all together, and it is useful in understanding the personality patterns, the problems which the child might be undergoing through, the maladjustments. So all these things, but then yes, a lot of research, a very rigorous research work is done when we are working on case study or case history as a non-projective technique. Sociometry, again a very popular technique. If I share an example from a classroom here, I tried sociometry in one of our classrooms. There were a few students who were evidently the group leaders. They would take lead in every activity which the class is organized. But when we conducted sociometry, a simple step I did, I asked each student, each of them, we gave them small slips and asked them to write that one person who is the their favorite and why, and who they do not like and why. And they were asked to maintain the confidentiality. They were not asked to write their names. So the whole class of around 30 students, they wrote their names on the slips. And on that, we tried to find out that who's the star of the class. So there were many options, But there was one child who was otherwise not seen to take the lead, was found highly voted candidate as the leader. So when I inquired with the class, they said that, ma'am, this boy is shy, so he is not seen leading the group in public. But whenever you approach this boy for any help, he is one man dependable. You can count on him to drop you to home. You can count on him to help you with subjects. You can count on him to assist you and stay back. He is a good team player. So sociometry is one very popular technique because you study relationship between a group of people. So it talks about the social structure in which a child is interacting and the psychological well-being. So these are the different things. At times one group straight away rejects someone only because I'm not very vocal. Okay, like I might be stammering, I might be fumbling when I talk. So my group doesn't like me on that note. But yes, I'm very creative. So these are the few things which comes out as traits or characters when as a class we implement sociometry as a non-projective techniques. So this is how we do it. Now the another thing is the rating scale. As a teacher, we come across lot of turbulence, that at times this particular candidate, like Ashish for example, any boy in the class, Ashish is one boy who is who's faithful, who's dependable. If as a teacher I give him any work, he is always there. So he becomes my obvious choice for any activity. But there is another group in the class who's not liking it much. So how do I say that Ashish is worthy of whatever is being given to him? So in that case, I'll design a rating scale. And this rating scale would have stars like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the stars are there, and all the traits are there. So the traits would be leadership, sensitivity, accountability, to inspire others, good communicator, creativity and innovation for any category which we want. So on the basis of that, the students would start rating each candidate, and the highest rated candidate can be taken up for any activity. It would simplify the role of the teacher, and yes, the leader chosen would be a mass leader in that case. A quick recap we'll do. So this is all about the non-projective techniques. If we quickly recap what we have studied, we started with personality by the Allport's definition, which talks about the psychophysical dynamic organization. Then we talk about that why personality cannot be measured, it can be only be assessed because it is an idea, it is dynamic and it keeps on changing. So we all agree that personality will be assessed, not measured. Then we talk about the various techniques. There can be projective techniques or non-projective techniques, and in this particular session we have only worked on the non-projective techniques, which are observation, autobiographies, rating scales, case studies, sociometry. So as a teacher, whichever techniques best suits your requirements, we can do that. And yes, being fair and being objective would be as closely objective we can be as a teacher would do a lot of help for shaping up the class assessment it is. So on that note, thank you and good learning with you.
खिलते चेहरों पर ये मुस्कान आई है शिक्षा के जरिए। ये मुस्कान आई है नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग यानी NIOS के जरिए। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग या राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान इस संस्थान का एक बड़ा उद्देश्य है आम आदमियों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाना। ऐसे लोग जिनके लिए शिक्षा एक दूर का सपना है, या वे बच्चे जो परिवार की रोजी रोटी कमाने के लिए बीच में ही स्कूल छोड़ने पर मजबूर हो जाते हैं। NIOS ऐसे बच्चों और बड़ों को दोबारा शिक्षा से जुड़ने का मौका मुहैया कराता है ताकि वे एक बेहतर जीवन जी सकें। 1989 में स्थापना के बाद NIOS ने देश के लाखों बच्चों और वयस्कों को बेहतर शिक्षा से जोड़ा है। इनमें हर उम्र, हर पृष्ठभूमि, हर जाति, हर मजहब और हर क्षेत्र के लड़के लड़कियां, महिलाएं और पुरुष शामिल हैं। बढ़ई से लेकर पायलट, डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, बेकर और दर्जी तक NIOS कोशिश कर रहा है सबको शिक्षित और सशक्त बनाने की, चाहे वो असम के दूर दराज इलाके में रहने वाला हो या फिर मुंबई जैसे महानगर का। NIOS ने अपनी मौजूदगी हर जगह दर्ज कराई है। NIOS ने शिक्षा की परंपरागत सोच को ही बदल दिया है। वो पढ़िए जो हम पढ़ाते हैं की जगह NIOS की नई सोच है, हम वो पढ़ाते हैं जो आप पढ़ना चाहते हैं। इस नई सोच ने लोगों को आगे बढ़ने और NIOS के साथ जुड़ने के लिए प्रोत्साहित किया है। शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराने के मामले में NIOS किसी सीमा को नहीं मानता, उम्र की सीमा को भी नहीं। चंडीगढ़ के गणेश के लिए भी NIOS एक वरदान साबित हुआ। NIOS शारीरिक रूप से अक्षम बच्चों को भी बेहतर शिक्षा मुहैया कराने के लिए पूरी तरह प्रतिबद्ध है। ऐसे बच्चों के लिए शिक्षा न केवल रोजगार के द्वार खोलती है, बल्कि उन्हें आत्मविश्वास और गर्व के साथ जीना भी सिखाती है। NIOS खेल के इन सितारों को उनकी सुविधा और समय के अनुसार बेहतर शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराता है। मेरी कॉम, सोमदेव देववर्मन, देविका रेबेका पल्लिकल, अरमान इब्राहिम, प्रद्युमन प्रकाश और अमयजोत सिंह। NIOS सीमा पर खड़े उन प्रहरियों को भी शिक्षा से लाभान्वित करता है जो देश की सुरक्षा के लिए अपनी जान की बाजी लगाने से भी नहीं चूकते। सच तो ये है कि NIOS की पहुंच हर ओर रहती है, चाहे वो दूर दराज के आदिवासी हो या जेल की कोठरी में बंद कैदी या फिर ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्रों के गरीब निवासी। देश में कहीं भी कोई भी व्यक्ति, स्त्री, पुरुष, लड़का, लड़की, अमीर, गरीब शिक्षा से वंचित न रहे। राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान का यही मिशन है।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान पूरे देश में शिक्षा के साथ साथ कौशल विकास के क्षेत्र में बहुत सारे कोर्सेज दे रहा है। लगभग 100 से ज़्यादा कोर्सेज हैं। हम दूर दराज के गांव में अपने संस्थान बनाते हैं और वहाँ के बच्चों को, वहाँ के बच्चियों को, वहाँ के वयस्कों को हुनर के क्षेत्र में शिक्षा पहुँचाते हैं। आपको जानकर खुशी होगी कि अब हम आर्ट्स, साइंस, कॉमर्स जिन क्षेत्रों में 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाता रहा है, अब हम हुनर के क्षेत्र में, वोकेशनल एरिया में भी 10वीं और 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे। तो वो बच्चे जो कृषि से जुड़े हुए हैं, कारपेंट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं या दूसरे क्षेत्रों से जुड़े हुए हैं, वो अपने ही क्षेत्र में काम करेंगे, सीखेंगे, हुनर पैदा करेंगे अपने में और सर्टिफाइड भी होंगे कि वो सर्टिफाइड कृषक हैं, खेतिहर हैं। तो आज तक जो हमारे देश में ये सोच रही है कि आप 12वीं पास तभी कहे जाएंगे जब भूगोल, अर्थशास्त्र, भौतिकी ये पढ़ेंगे, अब ये समय बदल गया है। ITI में जितने बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, लगभग 18 लाख बच्चे हर साल दाखिला लेते हैं। अब हम उनको सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे।